Welcome back to another episode of Sidekick Coffee. I'm Tom.
I'm Reese.
And today we have a special episode for you.
Yeah.
Today we are going to answer the question, or at least attempt to answer the question, of why specialty coffee. Our whole heart behind this channel here is for us to equip you to have good coffee at home.
Exactly.
So Reese,
Yeah.
you know, and our viewers know, that I'm a bit of a coffee addict.
Addict's the word.
Yeah, and I've tried lots of different coffee. I love it. Sometimes I just get it to get the caffeine into my veins. Sometimes if an IV was available, I'd choose that.
Tap it.
Yeah. But I drink all types of coffee, and I do, sometimes I'll even do the old instant coffee, or like the sachet or the pods. We'll go to a cafe and have a long black, or have a filter. Maybe even splurge and go for a cappuccino every now and then. But in all of my drinking coffee, I've never really understood what the term specialty coffee is. So,
Sure.
Firstly, before we can answer why specialty coffee, what is specialty coffee?
So specialty coffee isn't one exact precise thing. I can't just say, yes, that is specialty coffee. It's not summed up in one word. It's summed up in the process. There are so many different elements that come together to make specialty coffee specialty coffee.
Okay, so what is the very first stop in the specialty coffee journey, as you might say, or the cycle?
So, specialty coffee starts with the farmers. Normally, they're small farms that are interested only in producing some of the most exquisite and extraordinary coffee. This isn't coffee farms that are just trying to churn out coffee as fast as they can. These guys are interested in making the best, excellent coffee that they can.
So who determines what is like specialty coffee, quality beans, or mass-produced beans?
So after the beans are picked and processed by the farms, the green bean expert, which is somebody who's hired by specialty coffee roasters or companies to go and check the quality of the beans, will go out and determine how good the beans are. And they'll see, all right, this has this amount of imperfections. These beans are destroyed. These may have bug damage. It all goes into a grading system, and then the coffee is graded and then sent off for the next step.
Okay, so would you say in more mass-produced coffee environments, those processes aren't really taken into account as much?
Not as much. In mass companies, they're only interested in getting it and getting it out, getting it roasted and out into the factory so that they can either be made into freeze-dried instant coffee or espresso pods or what have you.
And that's essentially because those bigger companies, I mean, nothing against the bigger companies, but they're there for a profit.
That's right.
They don't really care about the holistic nature of coffee. They just care about the profit, and that's
right.
They're a company, that they're entitled to do that.
That's right.
So we've grown the beans. Well, we haven't grown the beans, but the beans have been grown.
They've been grown.
They've been picked. They're all the imperfection or the imperfect beans have been removed. What happens then?
Well, after they've been rated, they go on to the roasteries. Now, each roastery is different. Each roaster has a different way that they would roast coffee. Some people prefer the coffee roasted lightly, some want it roasted dark, some roast it this way, some roast it that way. It's entirely up to the roaster what they want to do to try and get the best flavor out of their coffee. Right? And this is an important step in the coffee process, because much like big companies, for specialty coffee roasters, if the coffee's not good, the clientele aren't coming back to get the coffee.
Yeah, it's true.
If they have botched up a whole roast of this coffee, which has been painstakingly looked after, processed, then graded by the farmers and the experts, they haven't done their job in respecting the coffee. So, the coffee roaster is just as important as anybody else in the cycle. Some coffee roasteries are going to roast differently. You might love these guys, you might not love these guys. I think they're both fantastic, but you need to get out there and try, or listen to us so that we can try and say, hey, if you like this type of coffee, this is similar to this, stay tuned to us so we can drink the coffee and give you the best advice on it.
Exactly. Okay, so the coffee's now been roasted.
Yep.
Is that the end of the process?
Absolutely not. The next step is they get sent out to cafes that love to work with specialty coffee, or they get sent directly to you and you can do filter coffee at home. Much like the V60 video that we just put up. If you haven't watched that yet, we'll have the link somewhere, maybe over here.
Not sure yet.
Not sure yet. And you can be your own barista at home. Much like the roasters though, you want to make sure that your barista is doing a good job.
If you're your own barista, you only have yourself to blame.
That's right. Baristas that disrespect the coffee by serving coffee that is subpar, they're not doing their job right, is disrespecting every person that has come before them in that process. Hence why it is specialty, because as a barista, it is your job to make sure that you are honoring the flavors and the process of the coffee. So here's the final step, and I don't think you thought this was coming, but you are the final step in this specialty coffee cycle. By supporting specialty coffee roasteries who in turn support farmers who employ people to make sure, experts to make sure that the coffee is up to snuff, you are putting your money where your mouth is, basically. You are saying, hey, I support you and what you guys are doing, and that in turn starts the cycle over and over again. So thank you.
So for those of us who have never tried specialty coffee before, who don't really want to go investing all these different bags as well as brew equipment and kettles and new V60s and the such, what's the best way to go and test and to try coffee?
I would say go and support your local cafes. Honestly, COVID's been hard for everyone, especially cafes, especially specialty coffee cafes. They really need your support. So I'd say go out, grab a coffee, grab a bag of coffee if you can, and get home. But if you really want to try maybe filter coffee or specialty coffee, look for some places, maybe get on Google and search specialty coffee in your area. That's what I do whenever I'm on holidays. If I'm going somewhere, I'm going up to Caloundra next week, I'm going to type in specialty coffee Caloundra and I'm going to go see what's around.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the what is specialty coffee, but getting back to our original question, and the question that our audience really wants to know is why specialty coffee? For me, it has this this assumption that it's expensive. It's kind of you have to be real snobby to have specialty coffee. Why would I choose specialty coffee over everything else?
Well, at the end of the day, specialty coffee gives you a coffee experience that you're just not gonna have otherwise. Do you remember the first time you ever had coffee?
Yeah, I think I was like probably 5 or 6 years old and I snuck some of my mum or dad's coffee and they got mad. I thought it was disgusting.
Yes, and that's the thing. There is a perception around coffee that coffee is bitter, that it is dark, that it is kind of makes you just go, ugh, it's disgusting. I remember my first time that I had coffee, it was very similar. The first time I ever had coffee out at a cafe, I was probably about 16 or 17 and I ordered a mocha, which is basically a cappuccino with chocolate syrup in it. And I then had to put in 3 or 4 extra sugars to make it drinkable. And I didn't want to just throw it away.
Sounds like a milkshake.
It basically was a milkshake. There was no coffee flavor in it at the end of the day because I didn't want the coffee. And that's what a lot of us do when we drink stuff like Moccona. It's, I need to get up and go in the morning. I need that shot so I can get on with my day or deal with the kids or deal with those people at work. But that's not what coffee should be.
Yeah, well, I guess that pretty much sums it up. I know, for me, it's been a bit of a journey from instant coffee to getting into specialty coffee, and I'm still not an expert like you, Reese, but I'm getting there. And I know for me, as someone who has more recently got into specialty coffee, it has opened my world to so many new experiences and flavors. And honestly, like just hanging out with good friends and brewing coffee and tasting something delicious has almost become an extra pastime, or like you said, an extra hobby. And so, I think that's the best we can do in answering the question, why specialty coffee? Hopefully that has helped you. But now we want to hear from you guys. If you love specialty coffee and you have a particular coffee that you love, drop it down in the comment section below. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you like and what you recommend. We can try it, and also for those of us who haven't had specialty coffee before, we'll at least be able to have some recommendations of coffees to try.
Exactly.
So, definitely leave that comment below. Also, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with everything we're doing here at Sidekick Coffee. Our whole heart behind this channel here is to for us to equip you to have good coffee at home.
Exactly.
And so this video is very important for us and essentially encapsulates everything we're about here at Sidekick Coffee.
Yeah.
So that's all from us. We hope you've enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.
See you guys.